that space out tonight. We live on YouTube. We live on X. We're streaming from both platforms. So, guys, once again, welcome to the Newstoter podcast slash broadcast slash Twitter X space. We're doing this thing simultaneous on X and on YouTube as well, too. From people coming on YouTube, guys, for those that come in tonight, make sure you go ahead and share out the program tonight. If you listen to this program and you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and also click the notification bell. And also, if you're new to Newstoter platform on YouTube, guys, there's countless of spaces right from X that we've uploaded as well too. So go ahead and catch up on those. It's probably 300-400 videos over there as well too, guys. So catch up on those spaces. Tonight, guys, we're going to be simply talking about the funding cuts with the USAID putting the big time freeze on all of these things coming around as well too. DJ text me up, say he's going to be coming in late, so shout out to DJ whenever he gets up into space as well too. We got these funding cuts, these big time cuts and stuff, and we also have the situation that I mentioned earlier when the space was beginning. You have Trump. He signed this executive order for the U.S. to have a resettlement of white South Africans over here, because he's talking about the South Africans are being discriminated. They're getting their land confiscated, they're getting their land taken, blase squad, yada, 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 yada. Meanwhile, these people make up something like 4-5% of the entire population and control about 80%, at least 80% of the actual land over there. So how they're being discriminated when they're a minority, how they're being discriminated when they're a group that came in there and colonized people, stole land, stole resources, stole minerals. So now Trump is trying to make a power play and trying to get a number of them to come over here and resettle to America. A number of them said, hey, you know what? We're not interested at this point in time, but who knows how that can change. That's something that we need to monitor, because even though they're saying, hey, right now they don't want to come over here, 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, 9 months down the road, 2 years from now, who knows? You could get flooded out, with South Africans. And we know Trump is supposed to be anti with the border, this and that, and the immigrants are trying to crack down or whatever. But when it's people that look like him, he doesn't have an issue or a problem bringing them over here as well too. So shout out to Avenge Your Ancestors and Black Man over there as well too. Shout out to y'all, man. We make sure y'all share the program. We got my boy Andre up in here. Shout out to you, Andre. I see you. You guys, make sure y'all go ahead and tweet this space out. Everybody up in here, share this space out. We definitely need that. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing rolling. Our people will start coming up in here. I got my boy Professor holding it down with me for right now as well too. So shout out to Professor. Professor, I'm going to go ahead and one of the articles came off of Newstoter, and the other article I think was from the BBC. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna read both of those articles. I want to just make sure before I go to the site that you can hear me, because sometimes I know we go to these sites, the actual reception gets jacked up. So I want to make sure you can hear me okay, Professor.
Yeah, I can hear you good.
All right. So let me go ahead real quick. And I want to touch up on the one first, the Trump thing. Says Trump order prioritize U.S. resettlement of white South Africans. So that's something, like I said, we need to keep up. This is from our curation partner, the Neo Jim Crow, curator Newstoter.com platform. It says, after years of railing against immigrants coming to America, Donald Trump signed an executive order Friday to prioritize the U.S. resettlement of white South African refugees suffering from what he called government-sponsored race-based discrimination. Trump also shut down all funding for the country, much of which is used to battle AIDS. Afrikaners, architects of the historically brutal discriminatory system of apartheid in South Africa, would be resettled in America through the U.S. refugee program, which Trump has suspended by executive order on his first day in office, according to the president. Trump accused the South African government in this order of discriminating against the white Afrikaner descendants of the largely Dutch colonists who arrived in the country in the 1600s and imposed apartheid against the overwhelmingly majority of blacks living there until the 1990s. Trump raised in this order that South Africa's government is seizing ethnic minority Afrikaners' agricultural property without compensation and enacting countless government policies designed to dismantle equal opportunity in employment, education, and business. He wrote that the U.S. cannot support the government of South Africa's Commission of Rights violating in the country. Let me see. The Washington Post has reported that private land is confiscated only rarely and is intended to address. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get back to this. South Africa's government has denied private land confiscations or racially motivated discrimination. Officials have said the government is looking at unused or publicly owned land to give citizens help who suffered generations of apartheid. The Washington Post has reported that private land is confiscated only rarely and is intended to address the disparities created by apartheid. Afrikaners, who make up only 8% of the population, own 3/4 of the country's farmland, while blacks, who comprise 80% of the population, own just 4% of the agricultural land, according to the country's 2017 land audit, the Post noted. In a post on X Monday, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa responded to Trump's early attacks on the country, saying the land measure is not a confiscation instrument, but a constitutionally mandated legal process. Later, he vowed his State of the Nation address, "We will not be bullied." Trump instructed Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem in order to prioritize humanitarian relief, including admission and resettlement through the United States Refugee Admissions Program for Afrikaners in South Africa who are victims of unjust racial discrimination. Trump's right-wing best buddy Elon Musk grew up in apartheid South Africa and overstayed his student visa after moving to the United States for school. His own brother Kimmel has recounted Musk has long criticized his homeland for being anti-white. The president reached out, South African president reached out to Musk in a phone call and reported effort to set the record straight earlier after attacks by Trump. The new order was a flip-flop from the one Trump signed in his first day in office, in which he argued that refugees are a strain of the nations receiving them. Trump said he would only start the refugee program if he concluded that doing so would serve the interests of the U.S. Trump's earlier order did, however, allow officials to make case-by-case exemptions. The United States provided nearly $440 million in aid to South Africa in 2023, with the majority of the funds allocated to HIV/AIDS treatment through the PEPFAR program that supports 17% of South Africa's HIV/AIDS response and provides life-saving medicine to millions. So that's where we at. Professor, were you able to hear me okay as I went to read that article? Just checking, making sure you can hear me all right. Professor was able to hear me okay straight while I was reading. I'm hoping Professor's still there. Shannon, you guys, can y'all hear me? Because I don't know if Professor is still up in the spot. If you guys can hear me okay, let me know. I want to make sure that y'all ain't in the matrix. I ain't in the matrix. So give me a hand fist to anybody that can hear me in the actual space. Okay. So Shannon, you can hear me. I don't know what happened to Professor. Maybe Professor had to step away for a second, but yeah, that's where we're at, guys. We see the absolute craziness and the madness of what they're talking about doing here. You know, we're talking about people from Ukraine coming over here in war-torn, in these war-torn countries coming to America, and the kind of hate they have inside their hearts. So imagine bringing actual damn Boers over here to America, people who have always benefited from their skin color over there in South Africa, bringing them to America. You know, it could quickly go haywire. It could quickly go haywire. Luckily, so far, a lot of them saying that they don't want to come over here, which is good. They should stay exactly where they're at. And the fact of the matter that Trump is sticking in here now, he's taking away now, and we're going to touch up on the USAID thing as well too. Almost $450 million was given to South Africa to combat HIV/AIDS. Now, when you think about it in the long run, $440 million. That sounds like a lot, but it's really not a whole lot when you're giving a country, especially when you look at some of the price tags that they give all these other countries as well too. And I'm sure they're getting quite a bit of minerals and reserves and minerals and everything else out of South Africa as well too. But you're going to sit up here with a group that owns at least 80%. I believe they own more than that, but they own at least 80% of the actual land. And who knows what kind of the minerals and everything else there as well too. You're going to sit up here and a group who came through conquest and colonization and murder and everything else. For the longest, executed black leaders in that country, executed their leaders, put Mandela in prison for what, damn near 30 some odd years. And you want to sit up here and say that this group is being discriminated against, and you want to sit and use political maneuvering on this side of the world to bring these people over here. You're cutting aid. You're trying to put the actual South African government in their place. You're trying to remind them that, hey, exactly who you are, that you're nobody, you're a peon, that you don't deserve anything. And I just find that just particular, crazy. I know, our main concern with anything is over here handling what goes on in our country first and foremost. I understand that. We need to worry about what's going on in America. But the simple fact that Trump is sitting up here and you got Elon Musk, somebody who's from that country, somebody who's sitting up here talking about how racist it is and how they mistreat white people over there as his mouthpiece. Elon Musk is basically Trump's mouthpiece. He's sitting up here talking about the harsh treatment of white Afrikaners over there in Africa, in South Africa of all places, a place, like I say, where they control the entire resource. The only reason, even when Mandela got freed, they still control the politics. They still control everything from the minerals to the land to the politics to everything else. And they have countries like the US and England and the West backing them to go ahead and put sanctions on people. Now you got people over here suffering and dying from diseases and stuff like that. And you want to sit up here and talk about you're going to hold the money, you're going to sanction them and hold the money back because Elon Musk is sitting up here talking about what a racist country it was and the mistreatment of whites. Yet I'm pretty sure Elon Musk came from a pretty wealthy family. I'm pretty sure Elon Musk's family was better off than the average black South African in that nation. I'm pretty sure Elon Musk wasn't hurting for money. I'm pretty sure that all kind of subsidies Elon Musk has received off the American taxpayer in this country, which has elevated Tesla into one of these huge corporations and made him into the richest man in the world. Now he wants to sit up here and talk about the mistreatment of white Afrikaners over there in South Africa, and then potentially using it as an excuse and a way to go ahead and pigeonhole these people to come over here to America, and to soak up and take more resources the same way he came over here and got $1 billion subsidies and everything else as well too. So, I mean, you're really playing with people's lives right here, right now. Shout out, I see DJ's up in the space as well too. Shout out, I see my girl Shannon up in here as well too. What's up, Jay? What's up with who's that down there? Blackavelli, what's going on? What's up? DJ, I don't know. Professor was in the space, but Professor may have stepped out because I kept calling him, so I don't know.
Yeah, I had stepped into the kitchen there for a moment, but yeah, I'm back.
Oh, okay. Professor, I don't know if you heard me read any of that article when I was talking about I was reading an article about South Africa. And matter of fact, before I get to you, let me go ahead and give you even something more to think about. Let me go ahead and touch up on the other article as well too, so we can have multiple topics to talk about. This is one of those nights where we're going to have a couple different topics to talk about. This is from BBC News. It says 50 countries affected by USAID freeze, says who? Of course, we know who is. So let me go ahead and touch up on that. Programs to tackle HIV, polio, monkeypox, and bird flu have been affected by the freeze on tens of billions of dollars of overseas aid from the U.S., says the head of the World Health Organization, better known as WHO. U.S. President Donald Trump has taken steps to close the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, arguing that its spending is totally unexplainable. However, the WHO's chief, Dr. Tedros, has urged the Trump administration to consider resuming aid funding until other solutions can be found. HIV treatments and other services have been disrupted in 50 countries, he said in a briefing on Wednesday. Speaking publicly for the first time about the freeze on U.S. aid funding at a virtual press conference, Dr. Tedros said there are actions that the U.S. government is taking which we're concerned are having a serious impact on global health. In particular, he pointed to the suspension of the PEPFAR, that's President Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, which he said had halted HIV treatment and testing and prevention services in 50 countries. He added that a reprieve for life-saving services had not stopped disruption. Clinics are shuttered and health workers have been put on leave. He said experts in global health have warned of spread of disease as well as delays to the development of vaccines and new treatments as a result of the cuts. Trump has argued that the USAID is incompetent and corrupt. He recently announced huge cuts to the agency's 10,000 strong workforce and immediate suspensions of almost all of its programs. The agency spends about $40 billion, about 0.6% of the total U.S. yearly government spending on humanitarian aid, much of which goes towards health programs. The vast majority of the U.S. aid money is spent in Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Europe, which is primarily used for humanitarian efforts in Ukraine. Elon Musk, a tech billionaire who's working on the White House effort to shrink the size of the federal government, has previously claimed that the aid agency is a criminal organization. Neither Trump nor Musk have provided clear evidence to support their claims, as well as a freeze on the USAID. President Trump has taken steps to withdraw the United States from the WHO. Under the Biden administration, the U.S. was the largest funder of the UN's health agency, and in 2023, it contributed almost 1/5 of the agency's budget. Dr. Tejal said Trump's decision was affecting collaboration between countries on global health threats. He also said the U.S. had reduced its reporting of the bird flu cases in humans. The WHO says it has employed emergency measures similar to those used during the pandemic to fill gaps where there are shortages in life-saving medication, for example, which is used to treat people living with HIV. Meg Doherty, director of global HIV, hepatitis, and sexually transmitted infection (STI) programs at the WHO, said efforts are being made to coordinate the sharing of vital supplies of medicines between countries. However, she said a better long-term solution was needed. We've been seeking support from the country to country for sharing, but this is a short-term approach. All right. Professor, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to go ahead and touch up on that as well too. I want to throw that up in there just to go ahead and get this to get the conversation even more. Shout out to Clarence as well too. Shout out to Clarence for the contribution. But I want to go ahead real quick, and I want to touch up on that. We got the situation going on in South Africa. We call them Afrikaners. I call them Boers, whatever you want to call them. Either way, I look at that as a potential landmine right there. I see the way Trump and Elon Musk is getting together. Elon Musk, let's be for real, man. He, for somebody that was so dead set against all these foreigners coming over here and immigration, this and that, or whatever. And I don't care if you want to say Eli is a legal immigrant, this and that, or whatever. This joker got his hand all in the damn cookie jar right here. I mean, he might as well be the damn vice president with the way he's manipulating things behind the scenes and everything else as well too. But you got Elon Musk whispering in his ear, talking about the poor Afrikaners who control all the resources and all the land over there, how they being discriminated. Instead of them controlling 100% of everything, they only controlling 80%. Now you dig up the 80% that they control. Also, let's not forget that you got East Indians over there as well too. Didn't mean to hit the mute button. We got East Indians over there as well too. So the South Africans, or melanated South Africans, have little to nothing. You got the white South Africans. You got East Indians controlling everything. He's crying. He's whining about that. Talk about setting up some kind of resettlement program to bring them back over here. Blase squad or whatever. I can tell you straight up, I don't like that. People had a fit with Ukraine or whatever, and I believe these people here be 10 times worse than even the Ukrainians coming over here as well too. And now we're seeing an impact as well too. Of course, he's basically putting a sanction on them where he's not going to give them any relief, and they're using it. The money they're getting is basically to try to fight against HIV/AIDS. So he's stopping that. He's putting a freeze on that. But not only is it South Africa that's impacted now, when we look at cutting the USAID freeze, there's 50 other countries that are saying that, hey, the United States helps with, basically in terms of healthcare and everything else like that against these sexually transmitted infections, hepatitis and HIV and a number of other things as well too. And now you have to worry about the medication slowing up, potential vaccinations, all that kind of stuff slowing up because they don't have the money. The U.S. supplies South Africa with over $440 million. I think they gave them last year, the year before, 2023 or whatever. So, Professor, I want to get your opinion. Oh, hold on, Professor. I see we got a hand up, so let me go ahead. I'll get to Gone Fishing, and then we'll come back to you, Professor. Guys, make sure y'all share the room out and definitely come on up. We're talking about potential white South Africans, the Afrikaners reselling here in America thanks to the executive order that Trump's trying to get. Now, keep in mind, a number of them said they did not want to come to the United States. And we're also talking about the freeze with the USAID, and you can talk about the number of programs that you guys know that it's impacting. If you agree with the freeze, if you don't agree with it, that's cool, that's fine. But come on up here. Shout out to Miss Nita. I see you down there as well, too, love. What's up, Melissa? I see you down there. Go ahead, Gone Fishing. You got it. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Salute to you. Salute to the entire chat room.
Is that Stephanie? Like,
Yes.
I know your voice, love. I know your voice.
I just wanted to say that it's a bad idea to bring them here because we already know their history in South Africa, and even other whites in other countries are wanting the United States of bringing them here to this country. You know, you got the black South Africans that are like, yay, y'all can have them, y'all deal with them. You know, so, you know, you even had a white family that took in a South African family and they used them for $40,000, made them spend up all their money. They almost went broke. But they said they'll never do that again. So there's lessons to be learned about this because this is going to be a real beef between the U.S.-born whites and the South African whites here if they do. Because I don't know if it's true, but the intended amount of South Africans they want to bring here is approximately 2 million. So I don't know if that's true. Maybe it's hearsay, but that's what was put out there. They want to bring roughly 2 million of them here. So if they can practice that amount of racism, you know, feeding people to pigs and doing all kind of outlandish things, they think they're going to come here and do the same thing to Black Americans. They got another surprise coming. I know that when Trump brought them here a few years ago, there was one South African, he was on the job and, you know, surrounded by blacks, U.S.-born blacks. And this was in, I think, Alabama. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's one of them southern states. And one of them kept calling people niggers. And next thing you know, he was laid out for about a minute or two. He got knocked out. You know, you don't just go around and thinking you're going to throw your weight around. This is a new country, and you're dealing with a new group of black folks. You're not going to do the same thing and get away with it here that you do over there in your country. That's not how it works. So he got a lesson learned to him. Another thing, too, is, you know, the white population is dwindling. So, of course, you know, they want to bring in some fresh European blood. And they want to bring them here, and they want to try to repopulate or build up their numbers in the census. We all know what they're trying to do. We know what the game plan is. Now, as far as the USAID, it's a pro and it's gone because it is cutting out a lot of good programs that could be used to get, you know, for the community. But instead, what Trump did, and I see what he did, is he showed all of the wasteful spending from the party of the liberal. You know what I mean? So now you got Maxine Waters. She's panicking. Her wig is about to fall off. That's how nervous she is. It's just a lot of things that's happening. You got I have a question. Now they're talking about reparations. So, you know, now everybody wants black people. They want to try to trick black people into voting for these people, us for them again, so we can be caught right back in the crosshairs. We cannot keep falling for these same tricks.
Hold on, Stephanie. But Professor, your mic is unmuted. Hey, Professor. Hey, Professor. I don't know if he can hear me. Professor, let me.
My mic's not unmuted.
For real? Because I heard somebody in the background talking. Maybe it's Stephanie background. My bad.
That's Gone Fishing. Raise your hand if you want to speak.
That's Stephanie with the gone fishing. She was speaking. Can you hear it, DJ? Oh, I'm sorry, Stephanie. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that that's basically what this is. The USAID thing is exposing what these Democrats is wasting taxpayers' money on. So I'm glad that this is coming out in the open. And, like I said, there's a pro and a con to everything, but it's basically lifted up the veil of everything that needed to be exposed. But, like I said, I'm kind of glad that it's out in the open. So now we can see exactly how cynical these folks are. And it's not just the liberal Democrats, but it's also the conservative Republicans as well. So they both are playing us like fiddles. So, it's just a little of both. We just got to tread lightly on situations like this. And I'm just going to land. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. And I agree with you on the wasteful spending part. I definitely agree with that. They're just, some of these programs are just throwing money in. And I think DJ had a video where there was where the guy was coming up with all these crazy programs that they were giving people, countries money for and stuff like that as well too. When it comes to the health thing, though, to me, when it comes to the health thing, just so we have this, because you have the global health situation that I worry about as well too, because everybody can be impacted by that. So I do worry about in some of these countries, some of these, second, third world type countries where you have, there's diseases that are running rampant over there, certain things that have not been eradicated like they've been eradicated over in this country for 70, 80 years. I do worry about that part there. Especially when you're talking about some of these sexually transmitted diseases in some of these areas, and they just don't have the infrastructure, the healthcare over there. I do worry about that. Now we know in some of these countries, especially some of these nations where you got dictators, you got a crooked government and everything else like that, how much of the actual money is being put to use to benefit the people. That's what you have to look at as well too. Yeah, we gave you $450 million, but only 20 million of that actually got back to the people, everybody in government, parliament, and the president and everybody else's cronies. They kept all the rest of it. So that is an issue. That is something that you can't make the people. All you can do is write the check, send the money out or whatever. I think that there needs to be, especially in some situations like this, where it concerns the health of a nation and people and potentially something that can impact people globally. We saw how a pandemic could start off in one area and spread all around and everything else like that and do the kind of damage it did. So I do worry about that as well, too. I would like to see in nations like that, South Africa and other 50 nations that was mentioned in that article, let these people get the treatments they need to combat the diseases they have in their countries. I'm all for that. I'm not all for just, constantly the money we've been giving Ukraine. And I know people say humanitarian, and yeah, Ukraine, I guess it is humanitarian to a certain degree that, hey, they had war and their country's war torn, and you got people that's been, killed and seriously injured and everything else like that. How much longer should the U.S. support Ukraine? No, that has to be the issue. I mean, we got to be getting ready to, kind of cut that loose some. But situations where people, and you got just diseases and they're rampant, and the people, they don't have the actual healthcare system, they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have the medical professionals in large enough numbers to actually take care of the actual large populations that they got. That worries me somewhat there. That does worry me because, like I said, we're also in a time and place in the world where everything is connected globally. People are getting on flights, people are getting on ships. So, hey, something that may be in one of these third world countries could be at your doorstep, in a week or two. Somebody comes from over there, gets sick, brings it back over here, and bam, you got, who knows what the hell is going on. So I do worry about that type of situation. But go ahead, Stephanie, you got it.
I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, it's my background. My father's watching television. The fact of the matter is, Biden was allowing sick people to come into the country. Okay, many of them had HIV, some of them had scabies, monkeypox, just to name a few of the things they had. And now, I think polio came back over here because somebody had it, and I don't know. It's just crazy, but. The politicians in those governed countries, they was misappropriating the funds that they were getting from the U.S. government, from that USAID. So that's another reasons why Trump said, no, we're going to put a stop to it. because they was paying for sex changes of transgenders in, I think, Guatemala, one of them South American countries. So that right there, why are we paying for sex changes for somebody else in another country when that money could have been used here for programs that we really can utilize? So that's where all of this is coming from. That's why I'm so glad that it's being exposed.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. Like I said, the wasteful spending, that is a problem. And it is a problem dealing with these governments as well, too, because they're taking this money. We've seen with these governments where you have basically dictators running and everything. And unfortunately, too many countries over in Africa that way, you know, they get, if you look at the whole continent of Africa, they probably get billions of dollars in aid yearly. But how much of that is actually going to the betterment of their people, and instead of to the actual leaders' pockets? You know, these people are living exuberant. And a lot of times the presidents and these other people actually go to Europe and stuff for medical treatment. So they're not even, it would make sense to me like, hey, if I'm living here, let me go ahead and try to fix up the infrastructure. So if I get sick or my family gets sick, we don't have to go way to Europe for some decent medical treatment. So to me, that makes no sense. Like I say, my main thing is strictly, like I say, the actual people and their well-being around the world. But a lot of these programs, I think they do need to be investigated. Some of them need to be completely shut down. There needs to be a paper trail. There needs to be auditing. There needs to be everything else, so the taxpayers can see exactly where their hard-earned dollars are going to. So I agree with you on that. As far as them, I didn't hear nothing about it. They talk about 2 million, sending 2 million South Africans over here. Well, they ain't got to worry about just the regular white people in this country that's going to be upset. You have a lot of upset black people in this country. If you got 2 million of these boys coming over here, and we know their history, we know how they look at black people, because we already got enough rednecks over here to deal with. So if you're trying to bring in reinforcements, or like you say, they're even trying to strengthen up your numbers in terms of the actual who knows politically, who knows in terms of your reproduction and everything else like that. Yeah, that's an issue. That's a problem right there. Ain't nowhere in hell there should be no 2 million of anybody coming over here in large numbers like that. And if you're trying to go ahead and control the border, and you're trying to do this and you're trying to do that, it's a problem. And let's not even start talking about Trump, talk about race-based discrimination, this and that, whatever. You're not going to go and handle this make-believe, because that's what it is, make-believe discrimination that these people, like I say, they control everything in that country still. So even though they control the politicians as well too. You're not going to go ahead and make this fantasy race-based discrimination thing in South Africa when you have a real race-based discrimination that's taking place in this country for hundreds of years, and your party nor the Democrats won't address that. So you're not going to sit up here and throw this in people's face and black people's face and say, you know what, these people here being treated so bad and this and that or whatever. We had to go ahead and we had to create a lane for them to come over here. We had not only that, but we're going to put a sanction on a poor country anyways, on poor people. We're going to put sanctions on them, and we're going to come over here and put these people up here and do like we've done for hundreds of years with white people and elevate them to a certain level because of their skin complexion over everybody else. Hell no. I mean, and we be fools to sit up here and be quiet and say nothing about it. That's my main problem right there. You done created this whole lie and this whole fantasy. Listen to Elon Musk, who's a descendant of these very people, and you're gonna sit up here and talk about you got to stop, you got to control the border, and you got to get all these dangerous people out of here. Yet you're gonna bring a damn Boer over here, people who only knew one way, and that was conquest, and that was taking people out, stealing, thievery, and you're going to talk about bringing them over here to America and put them in position? I don't think so. And if you talk about bringing 2 million over here, like I say, you ain't got to worry about the white people being upset. There should be plenty of black people, the same ones on both parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. Black people need to go ahead and speak out about that as well, too, because that is not cool. That is dangerous. And now you're saying that now you're going ahead and you're using your political power over here in America to once again to go ahead and to pick on a nation that you know can't defend themselves right here. South Africa has never done anything to America. Let's just be perfectly honest here. South Africa has never done anything, and those people, whether you want to call them black or melanated, because I know that's a whole nother discussion, they've never done anything to America as well too. And it's a lie to sit up here and talk about these that the white folks over there facing race-based discrimination when they control the minerals, when they control the wealth, when you look at their homes and you look at the black South Africans' homes, and there's no comparison. You know, one group is living like they're living in the present day, while another one's living like they was living 100 years ago. So no, you're not going to sit up here and bring this and sit up here and lie. And if he does, then I'm hoping some of our black Republican people, and I know people say, well, you know, it's your fight. Okay, trust me. If they bring these people over here, I don't want you to say, well, you know, it's not our fight. They're handling it over. Yeah, well, they're not handling it over there. They're talking about potentially bringing a bunch of these people over here for political gain and for everything else as well too. So no, that's not cool, and no, we should not support it straight up. And we got a bunch of black Republicans on here that come up into space and talk and everything else and talk about, you know, uphold the Republican Party and this and that or whatever. They should be the very main ones criticizing the Republican Party the same way we criticize the Democratic Party as well too. The Democrats don't get a free ride, and neither do the Republicans. And if this does happen where you start to have, let's just say, forget even 2 million, like you said, you heard Stephanie. Let's just say you're talking about potentially 100,000 of them coming over here in large numbers like that. Well, then we need to say something. We need to say something as a people. We need to say, hey, you know, no, they need to go right over there. They're living a good enough life over there. They don't need to come over here and interfere or whatever. So no, hell no to that. Stephanie, I'm gonna let you go ahead, and then I'm gonna get to IA after that.
Okay, I just wanted to say that Elon Musk, I'm going to call him Elon Trump, but that was a mistake. His son, I think his son is about 3. He cursed out Trump on a hot mic and told Trump, get the F out of his chair because you're not president. So I just wanted to bring that up, you know, just in case you decide to talk about this at another time or another space. Okay,
that's the first time I heard that. I didn't know that Trump got this. Now Trump's supposed to be this alpha male or whatever, and this man's not your vice president. This man's nothing except that. And I know he broke Trump off with a lot of money in his campaign. We know he broke him off a lot of money and this and that. And Trump is, I guess, a favor for a favor is how you do business, you know. But no, and I don't want to hear about you know. We're talking about immigrants this and immigrants that. Don't sit up here and make the second most powerful person in this country an immigrant who's benefited off the taxpayer dollars of U.S. citizens like Elon Musk has as well too. I'm going to go ahead and kick it to IA. IA, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Newstoter, WPI, Professor, going fishing. Thank and everyone else in the space. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come up here and everything. And I want to make sure I acknowledge everyone who was on the stage and who was listening. First and foremost, as a black Republican, 100% there needs to be fire on the behind of these Republicans. We basically need to. But one of the first things I did after the Super Bowl, which I should have actually done before the Super Bowl, was put in my annual call for representatives from both parties to sponsor a bill making Lift Every Voice and Sing the official national anthem of America. And like the South Africans is really the bridge too far that they are actually crossing. Anybody who was alive during the 80s, who basically fought for divestment from South Africa, who basically knew about Sun City, okay, because actually, right, see, in the South African context, all right, the Gaza plan seems like, oh, we're going to create a new Sun City, which falls into that whole apartheid narrative, all right? Elon Musk, all right, he basically, see, this is the thing, all right, on the conservative side, they put up people like Winston Churchill, who was one of the people who went down to South Africa to fight on the side of the Boers to basically kill those melanated people over there, okay? Now, sure, people can say a lot of good stuff, but you know what? King Leopold of Belgium killed 10 times more black people, maimed them, raped them than Hitler did. Okay, and that's not even getting to the Freeman issue of the experience of black people here in the United States of America. The reality of the situation is the whole European-centric view of America is still affecting our community with death, chaos, and confusion. And we basically, because this is what they were selling us. They were saying that, oh, we need to vote for the Republicans, and we need to vote for Trump so that we could save the nation from the immigration threat. Well, I don't want to hear about no H-1B visas. I don't want to hear about no South Africans. I don't want to hear about no Taiwanese. I don't want to hear about anyone. There should be a moratorium. The overstayers should be some of the first people who should be going. Those hotels here in New York and all over, that's a soft target. All them people should be loaded on ICE buses, and those hotels should be empty. They should be empty. They talk about the high noon of Gaza. Well, there needs to be a high noon in New York City. Pete Hegseth running around with his phony ass. I'm calling him a phony ass because, see, this is the thing. They changed Fort Bragg name to Fort Liberty. And then, right, they complain, oh, they spent $40 million to do that. And now they want to change, they changed it back to Fort Bragg. But Bragg was a Confederate. Why couldn't they leave it at Liberty? I thought America was about liberty. Why couldn't they change it to a Union Army officer name? You feel me? All right, so basically what we have here is, as black Republicans, we have to be loud, we have to speak up, we have to most definitely say, no, we're not erasing all that Jim Crow history. We're not erasing the 400 years of slavery. No, you can't just push that to the side. Because, and then start talking about, oh, DEI. See, I understand that when they say DEI, they're talking black. They would sprinkle in a little bit of the transgender so that black folks like myself and other folks, right, would say, no, we don't want children mutilated. We don't want this agenda where we're trying to crush the nuclear family. We don't want to have it where, we don't want to have it where they're trying to genocide our black babies. But you see, that's where the devil is a liar. And that's why it's important for us to take over both parties. The blacks in the Democratic Party have not taken over the party. They have been infiltrated by immigrants, melanated immigrants who don't mean us any good. Because if they meant us some good, we would not be talking about a commission. What was HB 40, for God's sake? Did we forget 4 years ago they had the HB 40? Did we forget 4 years ago they had the hearings? You see, that's being played for suckers. And no, it's not going to work. Now, I don't have all the answers, but I do know I got in the bill blaster. We need to make sure that we have legislation with teeth going towards our Congress people and actually saying, hey, this is what we are requesting. You see, I'm being nice. I'm saying requesting. I'm not saying demanding. I'm saying requesting. Because we should be cordial. We should come, not portray the angry black man or woman. What we should do is we should be basically genteel and basically say that we are going to have our little pinky up and we're going to make a dainty request. But if you don't answer it, you're going to pull up the motherfucking ass. And that's really where it's going. You saw what the black brothers and sisters did when the KKK.
Hey, try not to curse. I able go ahead.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Thank you. Because on me, don't curse. All right, but basically, you saw what happened when the neo-Nazis went into the black community. Them brothers and sisters exercised their Second Amendment right to a Second Amendment right. You see, that's what the danger of the Democrats is. The Democrats don't want us to be in a position where we can protect ourselves. But the Republicans don't want us to be in the position either. They want to be in the position so that they can have the guns and we don't have the guns. And we need to point out those contradictions, and we need to be strong and stand on our lineage. We need to stand on what the reality of America is, and not, oh, I say so-ism. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you coming up here, Professor DJ. And I real quick, what's your what's your opinion on the freeze of the USAID? What you have any thing you like to add in on that?
Absolutely. With the USDA, basically it was a CIA plot, as we know, that was used to try to influence and overthrow governments in the foreign country. It was taken over by this perverted ideology where they were trying to turn other countries gay and put them on the transgender stuff, have the marriage and all that other stuff. That's why that stuff is so prominent there. When you have, say, for instance, the medical issues, like the issues with South Africa and things with the AIDS clinics and things of that nature, that's what the World Health Organization should be dealing with. And there's more than other mechanisms which are already in place to handle the health issues and challenges faced in other areas. Also, when you talk about, say, for instance, famine aid, which is trying to pull our heartstrings, that's really not our responsibility. Our responsibility and our nation needs to take care of Americans. There were Americans of all ethnic groups which were affected by the disasters which are here. If they're going to send all that money over there, they need to send it here. That's the best international policy, is to show them an America which is prosperous, peaceful, and moving forward. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you for coming up. Let me go ahead and get to Professor, because I did want to get your opinion on this, and DJ as well too. Feel free to touch up on either one. I mean, both of them. What's your thoughts on the situation with potentially bringing South Africans, white South Africans? I want to be clear with that. The Afrikaners, the Boers, about potentially reselling them here in America, as well as the USAID being put on freeze for a number of nations as well too. What's your opinion on that?
Well, let me say this, and I'm gonna go right along with our sister Stephanie right there, that we do not need these Afrikaners over here. We do not need another set of white immigrants over here. Because if you're going to get rid of one group of immigrants, which you're trying to deport all the brown-looking and black-looking immigrants out, then we want these white ones to go too, because they just as bad. And they're coming in to do harm to black Americans. They're going to come here to try to fight with us, and hey, we're going to have to show them. If you come over here to fight with us, we're not going to be docile. We're not going to lay down. We're going to have to end up hurting. Because we don't want you coming into this country thinking you can disrespect us. And that's what they're going to be thinking. And this Elon, for him and any of these other Afrikaners to think, come and say that we're being racist over there, or dark-skinned people being racist over there, and that they're doing harm to them over there. I think I saw a video where one of them, some white male from over there, was saying that I guess he was trying to say the blacks are raping the women over there. That's what he was trying to say. So this is what they doing, y'all. They do the same thing globally. They use this tactic of spreading misinformation So as you can see, whites across the globe are the same. United States, Canada, wherever they are, they globally, these are the same demons that we're dealing with. So this white male South Africana is saying the same thing that these whites over here do, which is spread lies and misinformation about their women being raped or being taken or supposedly their homes are being burned or they basically spreading all kinds of lies about what the blacks are doing or what they do to us over here. So let's be really mindful, group, that when they come over here, they're going to do the same thing. White people are the same globally, for the most part. I know we don't want to say all of them, but sadly, you got a lot of them out there that are the same. Their mindset is along the same lines that, hey, we want to rule everything. We want everything to be ours. And that's what this is all about. White supremacy is about dominating everybody. So this is the mindset that we're going to have to deal with if these people come over here. And of course, like you said, Toro, they are concerned about the population decline over here. So why not bring another set of group of white people to come over here? Another bunch of racist people that we'll have to fight with. So we're going to have to deal with that family because I'm sure they're going to try to get them over here because Elon is all in Trump's ears. And Trump is listening to everything that this man is saying, and he's telling a lot of lies. So just look for this to happen, family, because they're going to do it. They're going to try to get them over here, that's for sure. Also, as far as this USAID thing goes, some parts of this is to me, is going to be the best thing that what Trump did, which is to end it because they sending all this money to foreign countries and to other whatever projects that they have going on that don't even concern what relates to what's going on here in America. So when I think of USAID, everybody, wouldn't it be better if we had USAID going to what we see going on here in America? For one, the homelessness that we're seeing everywhere in America, not to mention reparations that we keep talking about, not to mention all the infrastructure, not to mention the schools that are bad here, not to mention the medical healthcare system that is so bad here. We need aid to go to every state in this union. Okay, we need to be worried about what's going on here. But yet we're sending money off to people to go have transvestite surgeries, or AKA transformers. That's what I call them. They transformers to me. That's my name for them, because that's what they do. These folks want to go and transform themselves into something else, and that's your mind. See, that is what you want to do. You want to go change yourself into something else, and you're going to use our money to go to other countries to do this type of stuff? No, I don't think so. So, total, in regards to the USAID, I kind of agree with Trump stopping that because they're using this money for things that it shouldn't be used for. The USAID should be here for us, starting with reparations for Black Americans. Okay, the Black American family, Negro free, the non-immigrant class, because we are the only group that can claim that in this country. And I don't want to hear this stuff about the Native Americans being native to this land, because they're not native to this land. They came over here. They walked over here, right? So any group that came in here on their own is an immigrant group, okay, including those Native Americans as they try to name them, okay. And you got to remember, some of our people were already here. But these so-called red-faced people that they call Native Americans will sit there and argue, because I have had to have an argument with some of them on these spaces, where they'll sit there and say, well, we deserve reparations just like you guys deserve reparations. We're native to this land just like you guys are native to this land. But no, there's only one group that's native to this land. Because we were the one group that they brought in here. They forced us in here through bondage. Everybody else came. So anything, when you talk about this U.S. aid, it should be going towards reparations for our people, and it needs to go towards the homelessness that we're seeing all over America, and a lot of it is our people. That's what I want to see the aid for. I want to see aid stay here to take care of the infrastructure that we're seeing in Jackson, Jackson, Mississippi, with the water infrastructure down there, with the pipes. I think, Flint? I think Flint still has issues there with their pipes. I think is it Maryland? I think they had some issues up there with their pipes. So it's so much that could be done here. I don't want to see our money going to everybody else. And I'm going to land right there.
All right. Appreciate that, Professor. And I see we have a new speaker up here, Ash. Ash, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hello, News. I'm from the UK, so this title interests me because after apartheid ended in South Africa, you had some South Africans come to the UK who had either a parent or a grandparent from the UK, like a white British person. So that's how they were able to come to the UK. Now, out of the white, from what I know, out of the white South Africans, they were the less extreme ones, right? But they still had to adjust to the UK. Because, like, obviously, if they were living in mostly bigger cities where it was like they had different races, but they had to adjust. And this was at a time when the apartheid South Africa's reputation was so bad that even other white people didn't really want to be associated with them, because it was almost like the state was so bad. It's like you know how liberals are. They're like, I don't want to be seen as the same as them. So I think we didn't really have a major problem with them in the UK because of the time that those groups of people were coming to the UK. Now you have another group, which to me sounds like that's the group that Trump and Elon are trying to give asylum to. They're the Afrikaans, the ones that speak the Afrikaner language, and their origin is Dutch mainly, and they are so from what I understand, originally they were like an extremist Christian group that was in Europe, and they left to go to South Africa, kind of establish their type of Christianity, right? And they're usually the ones that have the most extreme apartheid views, and like they're the ones who created their own white-only town in South Africa called Orania. And it sounds like those are probably going to be mostly the people that are going to that are going to go to America to get the refugee status that Trump has already kind of given asylum to them. The white South Africans who aren't farmers, whose land isn't going to be appropriated, and have adapted to the ending of apartheid, they're going to stay in South Africa. So it sounds like America's going to get the most extremist of the ones that the white South Africans, and I mean they're probably going to go to mostly white areas of America just so they don't have to deal with other groups of people, because they probably already know that Black Americans or Hispanic, they're not going to take their crap. They already know, like if the Black South Africans and the group that they call colored in South Africa aren't going to take their crap, they definitely know that the Hispanics and the Black Americans are definitely not going to take their crap. So they're probably going to try to go to the whitest areas. But I feel like it's a domino effect. So you've got Namibia as well. So if South Africa does its finalizes land reform bill, then it's probably going to have a domino effect. So Namibia also has like a very small population of originally German they came like pre-Nazi Germany, but they have like Nazi memorabilia in their small towns or whatever. But they own most of the land in Namibia, so they're probably going to be like a domino effect. And I can imagine that they're probably going to try to. They probably already had this in the works anyway, to try to move the white settlers, the white settlers of Southern Africa to America to add to their population and Atlantic.
All right, thank you, Ash. Thank you for coming up speaking as well. Now, Ash, you're in the UK. Are you African? Are you from Africa yourself?
Yeah. But I'm grown up in the UK.
What part of Africa are you from?
Oh my gosh. I'm from East Africa.
East Africa. Okay. We appreciate you coming up speaking tonight as well too, and I can vouch for what you said. Now I can't say about the Hispanics, but I can tell you 110% Black Americans ain't gonna stand for them coming over here. They would get the actual culture shock of their life coming over here trying to do some of that stuff that they do over there in South Africa. That's not gonna fly at all. So I can't really speak on Hispanics or Latinos, but I know Black Americans. Yeah, and you'd even have a number of Black Americans, depending on what city they went to, would actually be kind of waiting on that kind of stuff as well too to pop off. So they would be well advised to come over here and, like you say, go to the Northwest or go to the Northeast, go to Idaho or Iowa, places like that. Because even in states like Mississippi and Alabama, you can still get that work as well too. So even in the most redneck states in this country, you can still get it as well too. So they be well advised when they come over here, because I know they'll probably mix in with the brotherhood and all that kind of stuff because it's in their blood. Let's be for real. But yeah, that won't be happening. One thing that too, and Elon, he's kind of blowing some dog whistles right here too, because I saw that he was adamant and trying to get Julius Malema sanctioned by the U.S., trying to get Trump to sanction Julius Malema. Last I looked, Julius Malema wasn't over there, causing all kind of harm to white people and this and that or whatever. So the fact that this guy, and like I said, he is luckily he is foreign born, so he can't be the president of the United States, because if he could, I believe he would try to buy that office, and he's pretty much helped to buy it anyways. But luckily this dude can't be the president of the United States because he is dangerous. Some of this stuff that he's trying to sit up here and do, he's going to sit up here and try to put a target on this man's back. So Julius Malema, and I know he's got his people over there as well too, they need to kind of be really careful, once America gets involved and stuff like that, and they start, interfering and things of that nature, you got to kind of be a little bit careful and a little bit leery as well too about what potentially could happen. So Malema,
I stand with Julius Malema. Yeah, he doing what he's supposed to do. Get them damn folks out of that country over there. There you go.
Go ahead, Ash.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, the world gets America's news a lot more than America gets the world's news. So, we know that Black Americans are going to take them out. We know this already. We've seen videos, we've seen clips, we've seen the Nazis try to march and get beaten up. We've got documentaries on it in the UK and other parts of the world. Have documentaries as well of what's going on in America. People pay very close attention to America because America's foreign policy meddles so much in other countries that people have to pay attention to what the social dynamics in America is, to know what type of president or government the people are going to elect, and how that government is going to impact the foreign policy that will then affect the lives of people in different parts of the world. But the Black South Africans, this is a new generation. Like the ones in their 20s now, a whole new generation. They do not take the white South Africans crap at all. The generation before them fought apartheid, two generations before them fought apartheid, but they don't take the white people's crap. But I think they already know that because they're dealing with it in South Africa anyway. But I feel like when they come to America, what's going to end up happening is the white folks are going to be like, listen, just basically go to the whitest of areas and just stick with your people there, because we need you alive because we're running out of numbers. I feel sure that they go to like very white neighborhoods, so there aren't those clashes. And with the USAID thing, I totally agree with the USAID being cut. I see it as an international money laundering scheme. There was a lot of Israeli-linked NGOs, Catholic-linked NGOs, different types of like, what was it, like $50 million spent on condoms. I doubt that was all spent on condoms. It was probably laundered somehow. It's a way to keep corrupt. That money is a way to also keep corrupt leaders in different countries in Asia and the Middle East propped up. But once that money goes, those corrupt leaders won't have the ability to pay people off or bribe people to stay in power. So I think it's a good thing that USAID is being cut. I don't see any good that it really does in these countries anyway.
All right, thank you. And like I said, I don't have a problem with a lot of the actual the cuts and freezes. My only thing is, like I say, if it's people that's in need of medical treatment, and we have the money because we spend it everything else, globally, I don't have an issue with us, sending sending medicine all over the world to help people, to fight off maybe even diseases that's been eradicated 70, 80 years ago in this country, and to handle, if you look at HIV in this country, the actual stigma behind it in the 90s and the 80s and even early 2000s and stuff, well, you don't have that same stigma that you once did because it was a death sentence. You got it. And, most people, if you live 10 years or so, especially in the early 90s, if you live 10 years or so, that was pretty much all anybody expected or whatever. Now you see commercials and people talking about it's undetectable in their bloodstream and this and that or whatever. So, I don't have an issue with you with us taking our resources and trying to help people live a healthier life and something like that. Now, I agree with you too on the money laundering thing. Like, yeah, they're taking that and they're using it as some kind of slush fund. People just going to grab it and they set up all kind of little dummy businesses and this and that or whatever, these nations and everything else, and everybody's got their hands out and they're getting into whatever. So I don't have an issue with the wasteful part of it being checked, being cut out or whatever. But I don't want to see people just suffering disease wise. And I know the governments in a lot of these countries aren't worth crap, but I would like to see actual medicine and treatments get to people who really, really need it to to extend their lives and to live the best life they can as well too. So I definitely understand that part as well too. Detroit, I saw you came up here. I don't know if you want to speak right now, but if you do want to speak, just go ahead and raise your hand and we'll get to you. It's not going to be a long space tonight. This is the first space this week, getting back into the swing of things. Have one tomorrow night, but yeah, it's not going to be a long space. Professor, go ahead and unmute your mic. And shout out to everybody up in here as well too, guys. Go ahead and tweet out the space. For those that want to speak, come on up here, speak. We're talking about potential reselling of white South Africans here in the United States. Donald Trump took a measure, executive order, talking about how they being discriminated race-based in the country and this and that. Everything's being confiscated. Of course, we know who was in his ear whispering these sweet little nothings. It had to be who else but Elon Musk sitting up here telling them this garbage as well too. Like I said, Elon Musk is kind of trying to go ahead and put a target on Julius Malema as well too. So we're talking about that. We're talking about the freeze of USAID as well too. Like I said, it's not going to be a long space. Just trying to get back in the flow of things tonight. But definitely for those that want to speak, come on up here. I see Ray down there as well too. So shout out to Ray. What's up? Let me go ahead and get to Professor. Professor, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, thank you again, Total. First, I want to say shout out to the family that's up in this space, and of course to the new speaker. Thank you there to Ash Carroll for coming up here. By the way, I love the British accent too, so I just want to say that. So let me say, I just want to say to the whole situation with the USAID, right? As long as it's used, like you said, Total, for the whole purpose of eradicating medical issues globally for everybody to help heal whatever diseases that could possibly even end up over here that could impact our people, yes, I'm all for that type of aid. But the aid that I think they've been using a lot of this money for, total, has been going for stuff that we don't need. Okay? We don't need more people trying to go and become transformers. Okay? Now, if you want to become a transformer, go be a transformer on your end, on your own. Okay? Go take care of that for yourself. But if we're using this money for helping everybody that's suffering with diseases globally, great. That's what it should be for. And if it's being used for like natural disasters, great. Let's use it for that. If it's being used to help people that are in poverty across the globe, great. Let's use it for that. But what I don't like is they're sending money to people for sex changes. That I don't like. You want to be a transformer? Go be more than meets the eyes on your own. Okay? And I'm going to land right there.
Hey, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. Like I said, we know it's a lot of wasteful spending, so I'm with you on that, Professor. Hell, in this country, taxpayer dollars don't need to go to nobody paying to have some kind of surgery to change sexes or anything like that. If you want to do that, you need to go ahead and get your own money up and do that. But it shouldn't be taxpayer dollars. So I'm in agreement with you on that right there. I definitely feel that way. So yeah, we're the same on that. Like I said, there's only a number of things I think really that you really should use that money for, but all this other stuff. And then when it comes to us in this country, and we try to get money to start a business or to get a house or whatever, and it's all kind of red tape, and it's all, well, your credit score ain't this and that or whatever. You don't have enough down for the payment. And it's always some BS or whatever. It's always a way to short you. And people could just walk over here today, and depending on if they got the right skin tone or whatever, you can go ahead and put these people up and find you can find loopholes to get money in their pockets. But when it comes to us, it's like, oh, well, we can't do this and we can't do that. And I'm sorry, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, that's a problem as well too. Don't sit over here sending billions upon billions of dollars out this country. And then when black people try to get capital and stuff like that, we're constantly rejected in this country. So that's an issue as well too. And I think that's what a lot of people feel like, hey man, y'all got money for this and that or whatever. But whenever we say we need this or whatever, when you talk about the economy and you're talking about the deficit and you come up with all these excuses of why you can't do something and how it's just not feasible and how it's gonna hurt the economy and all this other dumb stuff that you come up with simply for the fact that you don't want us to have the money. Okay. Do you go ahead and you set people up that come into the black communities, East Indians, Asians, Latinos, Arabs, all of them, you find ways to finance them and to bank them and get them to get them owning corner stores and grocery stores and gas stations and hair salons and all this other garbage. When a black person's trying to get something to build up their community, their neighborhoods or whatever, it's 1,000,001 excuses of why you can't do this and why it's impossible. And as much as you like to help, you just can't or whatever. So that's the thing that I feel as well too. Like, hey man, you got the damn money. And you want to sit up here and play dumb whenever we need to access it or whatever, and you find ways to hoard it, but you got certain groups of people that you don't mind getting it. But at the end of the day, the last person in this country you want to see get some of this money is actually black Americans. So that's the issue right there. That's a problem right there that I'm having as well too. And I know a lot of people in this country, black, white, whatever, feel like, hey man, yeah, go ahead and cut it out because it's just wasteful spending and this and that or whatever. And even you'll find, no matter which political party's in there, you know, the Democrats always get charged with wasteful spending as well, too. You're going to find a bunch of wasteful spending with these Republicans as well, too. It ain't just tied to one party. They both find ways to go ahead and screw over the tax dollar as well, too. So it's just not a one political party type thing. Both of them take parts in getting that money, doing what they want to, passing it along to their flunkies and their little group members and everything else like that as well, too. For somebody like Elon Musk, who has no political has no political history to sit up here and talk about that you're going to get this guy to delve into this and that, whatever. I mean, come on, man, please. Elon Musk, if it was not for the taxpayer dollar in America, he would be a nobody. DJ, go ahead and you got it. Unmute your mic. You there, DJ? I see you got your hand up. I'm not sure if you're in the space or not, but I know you did have your hand up. Or are you in the Matrix? DJ might be in the Matrix, y'all. Okay, I think DJ must be in the Matrix because he's got his hand up, but he didn't say anything. So I'm thinking he must be in the Matrix. So DJ, we will come back to you. If I need to drop you down, let me know. Text me or whatever. I'll drop you down as well too, because I'm not sure if he's actually caught up in the Matrix. But I'm also glad that the sister from the UK came up here as well too. And kind of give her opinion on it as well too. So it was good to actually hear from somebody. Even though she's in the UK, but she is an African as well too. Even though she's not from South Africa, she's from East Africa, but she still came up and gave her opinion. So I can respect that. Shout out to No Taxation and shout out to Viral. I see you guys up here, Pink Ice as well too. Shout out to you guys. Like I said, we ain't gonna keep this thing going too much longer. Because like I said, we will be back tomorrow, and this is the first space of this week. So kind of been trying to get back into the swing of things. Been really, really busy. So I had to try to make some time to come back. But glad that you guys, okay, DJ say drop him. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop you, DJ. Hopefully when I drop you, I can get you to come back in the space as well too. But he says he's on YouTube. He says drop him. So we're gonna go ahead and drop him as well too. Detroit, I know you're up here in the speaker section. Did you want to say anything, Detroit?
I'm just listening right now, bro.
Okay, you're just listening. Okay. Well, yeah, I saw you up here in the speaker section, so I didn't know if maybe you wanted to add a little something to the discussion as well too, Professor. Nope. Okay, no problem. Professor, like we was mentioning before with Julius Malema and the possible sanctions that Elon Musk is talking about. Do you feel like Elon Musk is deliberately trying to put like a target on this man's head?
That's exactly what he's trying to do because Elon knows the harm that his people have committed in that country. He is fully aware what white Afrikaners have done to the blacks over there in South Africa. He is like a lot of these folks. They get up here and they spread misinformation. This is what a lot of whites like to do. It's really that kind of that COINTEL that they run over here in America. Well, they do the same thing over there. They do this misinformation. They put all this different bunch of BS out to basically throw people off. Because you have to think about it, family. White people own a lot of the media. So they control a lot of the narrative. So the more they keep spreading this stuff, they know people are going to believe it because they put it all out in the air, all over the radio, all on TV, all over the internet, because they control all of this, right? So therefore, Elon is another one that's in a position of authority where he can put a price out on somebody's head, but just by putting lies out, misinformation. Now, Brother Julius Malema isn't doing anything to those people over there, but he is just another black man that's trying to stand up for his people over there to say, hey, we need to get these people out of here because this is supposed to be black land, Negro land, if you want to just call it that. That's what he's saying. And I don't see nothing wrong with him saying that because for years, those white people had them under apartheid. They was stripping them of all civil rights. They beat them. They did anything they wanted to them. Same thing they was doing to us over here, okay? The whites over there are no different than these whites over here. Over here, they called it segregation. Over there, it was called apartheid. Same thing. Same type system ran by the white man. to make sure that they can oppress blacks, keep them down at the lower class, keep them where they can't have wealth, they can't have land, they can't have access to proper health care, they can't have access to proper education, keep them poor. So this is the game that they run globally towards melanated black-skinned people, okay? So Elon, yes, is lying. He's running a campaign on Brother Lima over there to try to possibly have him harmed because they feel threatened by him. And the thing is, that man has a right to stand up to those people just like we are standing up for ourselves over here. And I am proud of the fact of any South African black person is standing up against those people. I'm very proud of that. I hope they all get together to stand up against these folks. Okay? And then when we see all of the African people, and I'm talking about the whole entire continent, where we can see all of them get together and run these people up out of there, then maybe Black Americans, along with the other dark-skinned, melanated people of the world, can get together to take care of all of the global racism, right? Global white supremacy. Get rid of all of it. You know? So, I'm going to land right there. But yes, Toda, Elon is trying to run some kind of campaign on that brother, man, to try to make him look bad and possibly have the government go in and try to do something to him. I think that's exactly what he's trying to do. It's some COINTEL type of stuff. Yeah.
All right. Appreciate it. That's how I'm feeling, Professor. That's what I'm saying. Malema, he may want to keep his head on the swivel. You have to be careful too, because money talks, and you know some of these people they got some heavy hitters that they can infiltrate over there in South Africa and do something. So hopefully, I'm hoping that his security detail is up to par, and they stay alert as well too, because a number of big time African leaders throughout the years, South African, what was it, Stephen Biko, a number of them, you know, have had their fate. We saw how their fate was met as well too. So we definitely that's something they definitely need to keep an eye on. I will say this right here too. The U.S. Trump is going to sanction. He's putting sanctions on them. He's talking about taking medication that really the people need over there. If you're an African nation and you're one of these African nations like South Africa, who has all kind of resources and stuff like that, eventually you have to stand up. Eventually you just have to say, okay, we'll take the sanctions, but you know what? Y'all ain't gonna get not one resource from this country right here. We will go back. We'll go to living in mud huts for 50 years before we let y'all get anything out of here, whatever. And you got to go ahead and hold on, because you have the upper hand. You got the upper hand. You got what these people need. You know, and if you can't get it from one of these Western nations, believe you me, you got China and the rest of them, but you got to go ahead and you got to negotiate, man. You cannot take slave deals with these people as well too. You know, if they're coming over there to take resources and stuff like that, and they got, first you got to make these people build infrastructure, and you got to get these people to train you and teach you exactly how to do it. So the minute that you're able to go ahead and you're able to take over, you can kick them on out of there and you can go ahead and run the show or whatever. And they're not doing that enough in South Africa, and they're not doing that enough in a lot of these African nations where they have all kind of resources and reserves and everything else like that. You got the Chinese pouring in, along with the East Indians, along with other Asians, along with whites, along with the Arabs and everything else like that. It comes a point in time that you have to take control of your destiny. And you're seeing that in some of those former French colonies over there in West Africa, but it's not nearly enough. And you got all kind of diamond and gold reserves and all this other kind of stuff, man, that goes into making these electronics. I'm talking about whether it's laptops, it's computers, it's microwaves, it's televisions, it's batteries, it's everything else that the world has to have nowadays. You just got to go ahead and sit on it and say, you know what, we'll stay poor. We're poor right now. Let us go ahead and we'll be poor. We'll be poor for 50 years or whatever. We'll be poor to the highest bidder comes over here. And we're going to negotiate, and we're going to tell you like, hey, okay, you can do this, you can do that. First off, you're only going to get X amount of resources, whether that's half. Now, you don't give them they don't give you 60-40 or 70-30, 80-20, whatever. And if your leadership is garbage like it has been, where you got a lot of these flunkies put up in place, y'all got to do something about that. And I'm not going to say online what you need to do, but you need to do something about it. Straight up. You cannot sit up here with the kind of minerals that you have and resources and continue to let people dictate to you exactly how things going to be. In the minute you do something they don't like, and then we're talking about these Western nations, aka these white nations, the minute that you do something they don't like, they're going to talk about sitting up here and putting you on sanctions and basically getting your resources for pennies on a dollar. You got, I mean, it comes time that, man, you got to stand up and say enough is enough, and we're going to stand up as men and women, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to forge our own identity and our own, our own future. Enough is enough. Like, come on, man. You're sitting up here, and this people, I think the article I read, they're like 8% of the damn population, and they control 80% of the actual land over there, valuable land. I mean, you just can't continue to live like that. And I know they have a young population or something like that, but hey, y'all got to get some of them old people about the spot. Some of the people that's up there and stuff like that as well too. And we've heard it for the longest that Winnie Mandela would have actually been a better president than Nelson Mandela, for the simple fact that when Nelson, who knows what he went through when he was in that jail, I'm sure they broke him and everything else as well too. But hey, man, you got to do something different, man. You cannot sit up here and have oil on your land and have all these resources, and you got Chevron and Shell and all of them coming over there and squeezing you and squeezing you and squeezing you. And your people are sitting up here living, in a third world when you have first world resources, when you have the top of the line resources, where you got, and your people that go over there, and some of your people that leave, they come to get educated as well too, man. You got to make it where they come back over there. And they can go ahead and start doing some stuff for the people over there. Detroit, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, man. The question is, why are they?
Hey, Detroit, do you got a headset on? Because you sound far away and it's kind of hard to hear you.
Yeah, I got the earpiece. Can you hear me now?
Hey, can you can take the earpiece out and we can hear you a lot better. Yeah, those earpieces are hard to hear on these spaces when you got these earpieces in. So he's straightening the earpiece, so hopefully we'll be able to hear him.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you much better. Go ahead.
Yeah, question is, man, we gotta ask why they doing this. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a great reset. Y'all, when the COVID hit, basically all the old money in America is gone. All this new money is here. So we got to ask ourselves, why are they doing this? You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Why are y'all exposing all this? Are y'all trying to really get rid of the old money here? Y'all trying to funnel the new money? What's really going on? Then you got the Democrats on there talking about the HR 40 thing, and we have our hearing this Saturday in Detroit for the Detroit Task Force, Reparation Task Force, and everything. So everything is correlated to one big scam, and we got to figure out why they doing this. Why are they doing this? Why are they exposing the JFK file, the Martin King file? Why are they exposing the overage spending to all these countries? So that's all I'm saying, man. We got to just figure out why. Take a step back, get out these people's business, and focus on our own business on top of figuring out why are they doing this. Is it a setup? Because mind you, these people think 100 years ahead. They don't think about a day, because we're not afforded that same type of power to think 100 years ahead like they are. You know what I'm saying? And the reparations thing will give us an opportunity to do that. But right now, we can't do that right now. We can only live in the moment right now. But these people are really strategic. Really strategic. All the way down to their scientists, to their engineers, to their politicians, to the people who own the resources, to the protection, the military. You know what I'm saying? They all correlate. They all work together. And it's what they're doing is something that's never been done before. And the question is why? Why are they exposing everything? So that's all I got to say.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming up. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for coming on up here speaking. DJ, I know you was having some issues before. You want to go ahead? You there, DJ?
Yeah, I got the video queued up, but I'm about to eat this food real quick at the same time. Shout out to the family, but let the next person go real quick.
All right. Let me go ahead and get back to Ash, and then I got you that Negro as well too. And anybody that wants to speak, man, come on up here and speak. Like I say, the space ain't gonna be going too much longer.
Hi, thanks for letting me back up again. I just wanted to add to the Julius Malema because I forgot to speak on him the first time I spoke. I don't think, okay, so the Minister of International Relations, so that would be like the Secretary of State, that would be America's president. Nancy, she's the one that took Israel to the International Criminal Courts to charge them with genocide. Right? And then Israel has threatened her life. And she had to increase the security around her because there were threats to her life, right? So nothing has happened to her, but if a country like Israel threatened her, but we already knew that if something ever happened to her, the people would riot. And I feel like Malema's the type of power he's got and the type of support base he's got, it's the third largest party. He's the head of the third largest party in South Africa, which is the EFF. And that was, I think, the party that Winnie Mandela was also the head of at one point. And if they tried to kill him, they're just going to riot and they're going to destroy anything that America has in South Africa. You know, the embassy won't be safe. The South Africans are, when it comes to rioting against the system, they're one of the African countries that go the hardest. So I don't think that would be the tactic America will use. They'll just economically try to cripple South Africa. But currently, America isn't in the same economic status that it was in 5 years ago, because they tried to sanction Russia, and instead Russia became more self-sufficient, and China came in and took advantage of that. And now China, India, Iran, they're all working together and trading with each other, and America can't do anything about it. Britain can't do anything about it. And South Africa is part of BRICS as well. It's one of the founding members of BRICS. So, if they try to sanction South Africa, then South Africa has, China and Russia to trade with. So I think sanctioning people won't be something that America can use too much longer against countries they disagree with. And I'd like to my point.
Yeah, and we know that BRICS that could be a potential game changer. That could be some real competition to the American dollar. So that is something when you have the amount of nations that you're talking about. What you got? Is it with China, Russia, Brazil, South Africa? I mean, so yeah, is China in it with Russia too, or no? I'm not sure. India.
Russia, Brazil, South Africa. Those are the founding, but there's now a whole new group of people have been added to it. And Russia had a BRICS meeting at the end of last year, and the majority of the global south came to the meeting. So they're all kind of just discussing ways to get around these sanctions and these attempts to overthrow their governments. But like you mentioned, the former West African colonies, so the former French West African colonies, they managed to kick out the Western imperial powers, and they're actually economically growing. So even if South Africa gets hit temporarily economically by an American sanction, South Africa, I think, is the richest country on the continent. So they could possibly just bounce back. They'll be, if their government, because the government is pretty corrupt. Ramaphosa's government is pretty corrupt, but if they do this land reform and it goes well, then they can resolve a lot of their economic issues and the poverty in the country. So maybe the sanction might work to their benefit, like it worked for Burkina Faso and Mali.
Yes, ma'am. Like I say, Africa, they have to they got to get a hold of their resources. They have to control 100% of their resources, even if you don't have the technical ability to actually get these minerals and stuff out of the actual ground. You got to learn that technology. You got to train it to your people. You have to do it. They're large enough continent that if they were able to get on the, and I know everybody doesn't have to be best friends, but there's no reason why you shouldn't have an African dollar over there. I mean, the BRICS and all of that is fine and stuff like that. But if you really want to be the actual master of your own fate, you need to go ahead and control everything. And with South Africa, Nigeria, the Congo, I forget which Congo it is. I know you got two of them. But one of them has more. Yeah, they have more resources. They have trillions upon trillions of dollars of minerals in the actual ground as well, too. So, I mean, you have to go ahead and you got to take advantage of that right there. And then when you get to the point where people talk about sanctioning you, then you go ahead and you hit them back with sanctions yourself. And, I know it doesn't happen overnight, but, they got to go ahead and start looking that way as well, too, because it's within their grasp. I mean, they can actually do it, but you just got to go ahead and put all of those beefs and petty stuff that's been going on for the past few hundred years. And I know everybody was put together, people that were born enemies and stuff like that. But you got to go ahead and find a way around that. And you got to go ahead and look at the bigger picture as well, too. And right now, even joining the BRICS and everything else like that, if you don't control your resources, it doesn't matter what currency you're using. You're still at the mercy of a more powerful nation. And until they actually control that, you could be on the American dollar, you can be on the British pound, you can be on whatever you want to be on. You're still at the mercy of your colonial master until they can go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to slightly push back on that. They don't need to have one currency because Gaddafi tried that. They killed him because of that. Well, that's one of the reasons why they killed him. And then they looted all his gold.
Are you talking about Gaddafi?
Gaddafi tried that. He tried to make one African currency backed by gold. But they assassinated him and looted Libya's gold reserves, just like they looted Iraq's gold reserves, right? So I think what is a quicker way is for them just to barter. So they have natural resources and everyone can use their own currency, right? But it's like all you need is a few countries in each region of Africa to be powerhouses, right? And that will lift the continent up. There'll be some countries, there'll be some regions that it will be like their problems are so vast and the corruption and the international interference of the imperialism is so deep, right? That the continent can't wait for them to get their act together. So just work on the countries that you are able to uplift. And if you have a few countries in each, like West Africa, East Africa, a part of Central Africa and the southern part, where it's economically growing, that hopefully will spill out to the neighboring countries. And I think that's like the most pragmatic route, in my opinion.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I see we got that Negro up here. That Negro, what's going on tonight with you? How you doing?
Yes, sir. Newstoter, I'm doing good, man. I'm, got my head on straight, and I hope all of y'all do too. It's good hearing you, Professor, DJ. Always appreciate all of y'all doing your thing and feeding us this information so eloquently and on time, which, a lot of people can't stick to those times. We appreciate you sticking to the script, brother, and team. Peace, power, and American Negro reparations to the room, specifically for the descendants of the people group emancipated from United States sanctioned chattel slavery between the years 1863 and 1865. These were the same ancestral blessings that built America with slave labor for the lands promised in Special Field Orders 15. January 16th, 1865. Today, we, those descendants, are here to demand our American justice. To answer the question of the room, resettling white South Africans in the USA, cutting USA or USAID. Man, I would have to say, as an American, hold your own nuts. That's my new thing when it comes to other states or other countries kind of impeding on the American dollar until it makes its American citizens whole. And in totality, I would say, heck no to that. Not the HE double hockey sticks. Respect in the room, Newstoter. But and as far as cutting USAID, I think, yeah, we should have done that a long time ago. Not to say we want to see anybody hurting, but we do want to see people again holding their own gonads and walking self-sufficiently. Of course, we want to unite with them eventually and build with them and make all of us, the amazing yet no one can I can't say that, unmesswithable, which is our people. When you coalesce like that around the world, it's game over. And so, yes, we want to get there, but first we have to focus on us. So I, as an American taxpayer, for all of us who are, I think the majority of us would say, yeah, cut the aid to everywhere. And no, we don't want anyone coming here until we can fix all Americans. Us, the American Negro, Black Americans, however you self-identify, being the first to that gate. And so that's my answer to the room. Lastly, I got a bone to pick with Mr. DJ. I sat in the New Jersey thing for 3 hours. The only positive part was they let me speak. So I definitely got to give some American Negro scholarship, and they gave me 3 minutes. Then people were cutting my mic. They were treating me like, oh my God, when I started spitting the real, they started treating me like they treated Kendrick at the Super Bowl, bro. My mic was messed up, man. So yeah, New Jersey's got issues, but
county in the building. That's right.
Yeah, they got issues, but they got an earful today for the parts they didn't cut out. Listen to that replay, DJ. And I'll land right there. Again, thanks, Newstoter.
Hey, one quick question, that Negro. What's going on with the OMB? Have they started back the talks and stuff like that as well too? About what are Black people going to call themselves? Anything like that? Is there anything new developing with that?
Yeah, you can submit until the 19th of this month, and I encourage everybody. That's why it's in the purple pill.
The 18th.
Or 18th. Yeah, that's why I wanted to be sure that. So if you haven't had a chance to submit your thoughts, I have about 20 times. But yeah, till the 18th, you have to, all Americans have to submit your, your thoughts, what you think about that ethnicity, race, and ethnicity conversation. So please do. If that answers your question, Newstoter.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. DJ, that video, did you want to play? How long is that video?
About 3 minutes, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you want to put it on real quick because we ain't gonna keep it going too much longer up in here. So if you want to put it on, we can go ahead and listen to it real quick. Shout out, I see my girl Goddess Michelle down there as well too. So shout out to Goddess as well. Jess Cakes, I see my girl Jess Cakes down there. I see Black Majority State. I see Mel. She just popped her head up in here as well too. So
Chicago now.
shout out to y'all.
Let's listen in.
I thank my friend from Massachusetts, but nevertheless, I urge my colleagues to oppose this amendment.
This is Ted Cruz. Lists examples of waste, fraud, and abuse at USAID. And Ash, you might want to check for updates on your Twitter. Your microphone kind of robotic to me. But yeah, check for updates. Restart the phone. You already know what it is. Just run it back. Yeah, let's list of wasteful aid, USAID, by Ted Cruz or whatever. Let's listen. Let me run it back.
I thank my friend from Massachusetts, but nevertheless, I urge my colleagues to oppose this amendment. This amendment has nothing to do with the Ticket Act, and it is not within the jurisdiction of this committee. This amendment, unfortunately, is nothing more than a clear, partisan political attack on Elon Musk, whom the president has tasked with running the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. In November, the American people resoundingly voted for President Trump. Naturally, President Trump is implementing the agenda that the American people voted for. Contrary to the Democrat opinion, there is no fourth branch of government known as the administrative state. No one elected the bureaucracy. DOGE is an office within the White House led by Elon Musk to eliminate wasteful government spending and to reduce unnecessary regulations. To fulfill its mission and review wasteful government spending, DOGE and its staff, including Elon Musk, must have access to data, including data in the federal payment system, to fulfill its mission requested by the president. And I would note that in just a matter of a couple of weeks, they've already found considerable waste, fraud, and abuse, in particular within USAID. Among the things they discovered that the previous administration was spending money on were $1.5 million for advancing DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala, $6 million for tourism in Egypt, paying for, quote, hundreds of thousands of meals that went to Al-Qaeda-affiliated fighters in Syria, funds for the production of opium, the primary ingredient in heroin, in Afghanistan, which chiefly benefited the Taliban. $1 million to help disabled people in Tajikistan become, quote, climate leaders. $1 million to a Hamas-linked charity. And $15 million for contraceptives and condoms in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. You will forgive President Trump and the American people for thinking these expenditures are unnecessary and wasteful. And unfortunately, the hysterical doomsday scenarios of data tampering, privacy concerns, or payment delays or rerouting, touted by Senate Democrats, are false and were dispelled by the Department of Treasury last night in a letter that they sent to Ranking Member Wyden on the Senate Finance Committee. The president is entitled to conduct full review of federal agency spending and regulations through the DOGE, and I intend to do everything I can to help ensure that its important mission is carried out. Litigating these partisan matters in this amendment or in this bill isn't appropriate. It's outside the committee's jurisdiction, and I urge my colleagues to oppose the amendment.
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
All right, y'all. So hopefully y'all heard that right there. So hopefully y'all heard that right there. What the heck you need DEI training in Serbia for? Ain't that, white folks over there. Who you trying to get to move in over there? So the Democrats trying to do a tether invasion globally, man. Oh my God. Because look, all you got to do is go look over what's going on with Ireland. Go look what's going on over to the UK with the tether knackers. My bad, I ain't trying to disrespect them. I'm just saying, or immigrants rather, you know what I mean? So there you go. Yeah, you might want to get on your ball game on that one, you know what I mean? So the United States Democrats, you can't vote for them. They out of control. They're running wild. It is what it is, yo. You know what I mean? Don't vote for them ever. And yeah, and remarks to wasteful spending, right? Let's look at the wasteful spending we did in Afghanistan.
for 20, 30 years. You know what I mean? Get in the Jumbotron right here, top left-hand side. It said America spent $300 million per day in Afghanistan for 20 years. Add it up. You see, I did a little screenshot. I did the math for y'all, so you can look at the numbers. Yeah, but we can't get reparations. They could have been paid as reparations because the U.S. government print money. I've been to the Philadelphia Mint a couple times in my life. They got industrial size buckets to make coins of any coin. You know what I'm saying? Nickel, quarter, whatever. You know what I'm saying? United States printing money like people turn the faucet on to wash their hands every day. We've been doing this. This ain't nothing new. So, yeah, America run it. You already know. Since everybody else, I guess, stay mad. You ain't going to never do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? We the bullies of the world. What you want to do? You know, it's just get down and lay down. It's 2025. That's all it is, yo. Ain't no more aid going nowhere. It's over, yo. Know what I mean? It's a great reset. It's all about merit, right, Trump? So, yeah, look at that. And, yeah, let's talk about this O&B thing real quick because, yeah, we need to discuss that. That's kind of crazy that the conversation has come back up again. And, yeah, 2030 will be here before you know it. And I feel like we already done missed our mark right here, right now, considering that we could have actually done something surrounding the O&B reparations, Black Agenda, woo-de-woo. Shout out to Sister Sean and Tasty's Blake's, you know, Capital Accountability Project. You already know, and Sister Reparations. You know, they tried to explain this stuff to us, man, but, you know, Nax don't want to listen. Then you had all the, you know, the coons, for the most part, throwing a monkey wrench in the game. You know, shout out to reparations2023.com. Stay mad, you know what I'm saying? We still building on Black on funded social, so it is what it is, you know what I mean? But, yeah, O&B gang, you already know. I don't care what you want to call yourself. You call yourself the, you know, the jester of the court and all this other stuff. You the baddest. You know what I'm saying? You that dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't even care. Cut the check. You know what I'm saying? As long as you identifying it as a knacker, you know what I mean? It's all good. And make sure y'all come up on Funded Socially and support the Black Negro Collective up here on Funded Socially. The Negro Collective on Funded Socially. You know what I mean? Go support the Negro Collective. Shout out to that Negro. We up there building on Funded Socially. We need to mass migrate people off these WPIs. I ain't saying close your account over here on Facebook or nothing like that, or X. But a lot of us don't want to leave the white folks alone. I understand. We love being around them. You know what I mean? Shout out to the white folks that's on the court, whatever. But we need to get off this app and all these other apps and start placing our information strictly on a Black platform, whether it be Funded Socially or Newstoter or African Diaspora News Channel. Shout out to Phil Scott. You got 1 million subscribers on Instagram and YouTube separate. You know what I mean? So there's 2 million people right there. So at the end of the day, we need to get our stuff popping. South Africa, y'all just need to, you know, y'all outnumber the boys. You know they ain't from there. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just need to, you know, just say kindly leave. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you know, we gonna, you know, get rowdy or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And that's allegedly too. So at the end of the day, I don't think. And I'm not going to say I don't think. I know he is trying to set a millennium up to get buck, because that's how they do over there in Africa. But don't fall for it, because Elon ain't no one to tell no one to do anything over here. You know what I'm saying? We should be trying to get Elon deported because he already overstayed his visa. You broke the rules, B. So why you ain't up out of here with the rest of the homies? You know what I'm saying? You got to go, son. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ever going to buy no Tesla. Don't ever buy a Tesla, y'all. They trash cars. Hey, South Africa, all Africa, the motherland homies. You know what I mean? Shout out to the ancestors. Stop giving this joker the resources. Do what Niger doing and Burkina Faso and all them jokers. Y'all, now I got my strap, B. You ain't gonna come over here and say nothing because I'm gonna shoot you. You know what I'm saying? That's what y'all gotta start doing, man. Stop having the white Europeans coming over there, buying boys on vacation. You know, like, yo, y'all trafficking children. Y'all down with it. So it's like, hey, man, when you see these Nigerians come over here, a lot of them descend from slave traders, yo. So why they in our institutions of the NAACP, the guy in Negro California, all the HBCUs, all this other stuff? Yeah, that's right. Go in on these folks, man. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no hate, man. Everybody got to go. Go home. Do what you got to do. Because I don't understand how folks saying, oh, that's messed up what you're doing to the immigrants over here. But y'all got a whole country to go to. Black Americans ain't got nowhere to go but here. You know what I mean? We asked to come here.
the vast majority of us. And the ones that was here, you know what I'm saying, we got taken out, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't many of the real Indians left, aka the Negroes. They mean the same thing intertwined. You know what I'm saying? So we was already here, Columbus, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if you descend from anything post 1865, you know what I'm saying, or pre, coming into that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got to get our reparations. So back to the OMB conversation, only about 700 people signed the OMB comment to identify as an American Negro or a Black American descendant of chattel slavery. You know what I mean? So you got two options right there. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? I just want my money. You know what I'm saying? Because the United States have harmed me personally too. You know what I mean? In my lifetime. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? They have, the United States government has its own laws. In our lifetime, yo. Can't get a bank loan, home loan, auto loan, car loan, but they gave the tellers everything, yo. Can't get nothing, yo. You need ID for this, insurance for that. You can't get a discount on the insurance you gotta pay for. And when you do something, God forbid, do go wrong, knock on wood, they want to chip you, don't want to pay you out, have to wait and all this other stuff. Come on, man. The United States been doing us dirty for a long time. So, hey, you know, South Africa, don't fall for the foolery. I think y'all just should stay down with y'all BRICS family over there. You ain't got to worry about United States dollars. Y'all got your own thing going on. You know what I mean? And to the South African white boys, if y'all welcome to come over here, we ain't racist. You know what I'm saying? America not a nation of immigrants, but don't think come over here and mess with no Negroes, man, because you're going to get punished. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know that. That's why y'all don't want to come over here. Y'all don't outnumber us in no way, shape, size, or form, so wouldn't even be fair. And yeah, you know, just going all over there to Seattle, California. California need people leaving California in droves. You know what I'm saying? It's too expensive. Y'all got some money. Y'all own 80% of the land in South Africa. Ain't like you won't give it up anyway. That's why, you know, South Africa, hey, got to be a civil war, big. Because you be telling me that you ain't from here and all this other stuff, but you own 80% of the land. Now we got to go to war. You know what I'm saying? Word up. We got to go to war. Same thing with us over here. Hey, you can't get an SBA loan? Man, we should be raising hell, big. You can't get a car loan? You should be tearing this mug up, big. You know what I'm saying? Word up, because that's what we do. Y'all other tellers, they can't do that. That's why the Mexicanos, they mad. The Spanish people, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Rich Blood, yo. 42. Hey, you can't tear nothing up here. Only thing you can do is block the road. You know what I'm saying? That ain't nothing, you know what I'm saying? Do what you gotta do, though, but y'all gotta go home still. It's over, yo. Everybody go home, do what you gotta do. No more USAID, go build your own. And we'll meet back at the table like that. Hey, what you doing? Oh, we got this, let's trade. Oh, man, did.
All right. Professor, go ahead and unmute your mic.
By the way, just to kind of touch on a little bit of the immigration family, I don't know if you all heard, but this was announced earlier in the afternoon where Pam Bundy, who is, of course, Trump's U.S. Attorney General, has announced charges against the governor of New York. I think her name is Kathy Hochul. And also against the DA, or one of the DAs up there, or state attorney DA, which would be Letitia James, which I guess we shouldn't be surprised by that, considering that Letitia James is an enemy of Trump. So I kind of saw that one coming. But if you look up there in the Jumbotron family, I have put it up there, which she made the announcement today that she's filing the immigration charges against them. So see, this is what I've been talking about, y'all. The federal government gets involved when they want to. So this is the federal government making charges against the state for violating the immigration law. So I want y'all to understand, I've been trying to tell y'all the federal government can supersede the state.
Hey, Eric Adams not guilty. Eric Adams not guilty, bro. Eric Adams not guilty for the homie.
Well, they dismissed those charges against him, I believe, yeah.
Nah, they dropped it. They dropped it.
Yeah, they dropped, right, that's right. They dropped the charges against him. So that just goes to show you, y'all, they do what they want to the feds can supersede the state. You see it all the time. Look at this situation here. So this is a state. These are state officials being charged by the federal government based on the immigration law. Now, how many of you have ever heard of that? So here it is. She just did it today. So see it up in the jumbotron right there. Pam Bundy is under that guy, Nick. I think his name is Newstoter. He's the one that posted the video, but you'll see it in the jumbotron right there. I'm gonna land right there.
All right. Appreciate that, Professor. On that note, I see that's as good as any time to go ahead and shut it down, guys. So we will be back tomorrow night. Peace. Thank everybody for coming out. I appreciate the speakers and everyone who came in and listened as well, too, guys. So we will see you guys tomorrow night. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
Next space.